Please welcome from the Division of Natural Sciences and Mathematics, Professor Phil Danielson.
When we think of Sigmund Freud, the first word that comes to your mind is probably not jurisprudence. However, it was Sigmund Freud who said that the first requisite of civilization is that of justice. And justice is very important to us. Follow the news every day, from Black Lives Matter movement to the controversy over whether or not Apple should unlock your iPhone. And certainly, I think we can all agree that the public confidence in the justice system is based in large part on our belief that justice is blind. In some areas, however, blind justice, or the blindness of justice, can actually undermine our confidence. What I'm specifically talking about is the role of science in our justice system, particularly the limitations to some of the scientific tests that we currently have. When you don't have complete answers, when the science is uncertain, that can lead juries to reach an unjust verdict. We, in fact, have seen this happen in Colorado. Tim Masters and Clarence Moses Eel are examples of two people who served years behind bars based in part on convictions based on incomplete or inaccurate science. For Moses L., it was inaccuracy in identifying body fluids. For Tim Masters, it was our inability to detect trace levels of DNA. Now, one of the true tragedies of these cases is that while these men served decades behind bars for crimes they didn't commit, the actual perpetrators remained free. Not just free, but they continued to commit crimes. My team at the University of Denver, of graduate students, undergraduate students, and postdoctoral researchers, focus our energies on improving the scientific technologies that support our justice system. Specifically, there are two areas that we focus our energies. The first is on trace levels of DNA, tiny amounts of DNA present from just touching, for example, a bullet cartridge. Now, this is important because although 70% of homicides involve a gun and up to 50% of robberies involve a gun, the chance of getting a successful DNA profile off of a bullet is near zero. Many police departments will not even submit a bullet for examination. The second area that we focus our attention on is body fluid identification, particularly body fluid identification as it relates to sexual assault kits. Now, existing technologies have a lot of very serious limitations. Those include false positive results and false negative results. That can result in a wrongful conviction of the innocent, or it can result in a guilty person being set free. Many of these tests consume so much of the evidence that there's not enough left for successful DNA testing, and they have poor sensitivity. That is one of the reasons that in rape cases, you basically need to collect the evidence in the rape case within 2 or 3 days after the assault. Otherwise, you are very unlikely to get a successful test result from an older kit. Now, to improve our ability to detect these trace levels of DNA, what we're doing is we're taking advantage of the very latest in human genome sequencing technology. Now, this new technology provides us with much greater sensitivity. We can detect the DNA left on a bullet after loading that bullet into a magazine. At the same time, we can also look at complex mixtures of DNA, very commonly encountered in forensics, and we can separate out the individual contributors, something that we haven't been able to do before. Now, what you see in this picture here is a handheld genome sequencing device. This is a device that is so easy to use and so portable that you can take it to the crime scene, plug it into your laptop, and generate DNA results in real time. Now, we didn't develop this instrument here at DU, but we are adapting this technology to something its inventors never imagined: mobile crime scenes. In fact, at the heart of this instrument is nanotechnology. It's a protein that can sequence a single DNA molecule. That gives us much greater sensitivity than we have ever had before. This is going to revolutionize crime fighting. This research is currently funded by the National Institute of Justice, and it is our goal that by 2018, based on our preliminary results, that we will see successful DNA profiles obtained from approximately 70% of bullet cartridges, rather than 0. The other area where we're making strides is in the area of body fluid identification. Here, we're taking advantage again of the very latest technologies that are already being used in medical diagnostics. We're applying them to forensics. Specifically, we're using quadrupole mass spectrometry, and I know that's a $64,000 word, $70,000 with inflation. Basically, what we do is we've identified unique, specific proteins that allow us to identify a body fluid. And that's great. The only problem is body fluids contain thousands of other proteins. So what we're really doing is we're looking for a needle in a very large haystack. What our quadrupole technology allows us to do, however, is to take that entire haystack, needles included, to blow away the hay and to stabilize just those unique needles that we're looking for. What this allows us to do is to now identify with extremely high confidence microscopic quantities of human body fluids. Now, the best part of this is that not only is this technology extremely fast, not only is it extremely accurate, not only is it extremely sensitive, it's also cost effective. And that is an important consideration as well. Now, what I'd like to show you next is how we are currently using this technology in a project funded by the US Army. Specifically, the US Army is interested in improving the accuracy of rape kit testing. And as I mentioned, there's a very narrow window of opportunity. With existing technologies, you must collect evidence from a sexual assault or rape. You must collect that within 2 or 3 days if you want a good chance of getting a successful result. And so the current technologies, such as the P30 abacus test or the seminodulin RSID test, these tests can detect the male component in a rape swab up to about 2 days. With the new quadrupole technology that we've employed, we can now expand that window of opportunity to up to 8 days. That is a very significant improvement in our ability to follow the perpetrator after a rape has been committed, regardless of when the woman has reported that. And this is particularly important because delays are most often seen in cases of pediatric sexual assault. So, how would these technologies have impacted these men who were wrongfully convicted? Moses Seal was convicted 28 years ago. If we had had high sensitivity body fluid identification, there's a good chance that that jury never would have reached a conviction. Tim Masters, he served more than 10 years in prison. He was convicted because no one could find any DNA on the body that could be linked to anyone other than Tim Masters. In fact, when Tim Masters was finally exonerated, part of the reason he was exonerated was that trace DNA showed evidence of another male suspect that had previously been of interest. Now, I do also want to emphasize, what we do at DU, we do not do alone. We are part of a large team. My laboratory, like every other researcher here at DU. Our team involves, of course, our funding agencies, in my case, the Army and the NIJ, as well as partners that are private foundations, such as the Center for Forensic Science Research and Education, companies that manufacture these instruments, and police laboratories. In fact, we're proud to partner with police laboratories as far away as Brasilia, Brazil. So with that, I thank you very much.